Hey Alpha Fam, Coach Jam here with another market update. Before we begin, I do want to say that nothing in these videos is financial advice. Everything's for educational purposes only. It's just my own analysis on the market. Also, if you're new to the Alpha Syndicate channel, if you can please give us a like, comment, and a subscribe, we really do appreciate the support. Let's get into the market, guys. So we're getting a push. The reason why we're getting this push is because the U.S. has temporarily lifted the sanctions on Russia for oil and crude oil production. This is making the market bring a little bit of reassurance that this problem with the Strait of Hormuz is not going to be as overextended or is going to be an issue that can't be solved. And what we're seeing right now is a massive push in crypto. You can see Bitcoin right now is pushing up back at 72,743. And you can see, guys, and I was noticing this yesterday. This thing looked like a bull flag right here. If you can see it, if I put this right here, and then we put our post, and it started developing like this, and I said, this thing makes sense. It comes back down to the 50, finds support, and then pushes up, and that's exactly what we've seen. And again, if this is our bull flag and it's a post and we're getting a breakout, then we could expect it potentially coming up to the $75,000 region. We have a major resistance zone right here, guys. Major resistance. And the reason why is this 50-day EMA. You can see where we're at right now. All right. You can see what happened the other day when we came up to the 50. We rejected. We're right there now. We need to break above the 50. All right. I think that there's a lot of shorts that are going to get squeezed out. So I think there's going to be momentum for when it happens. But we need to break above the 50 with momentum. And we need to use this as support where it has been resistance for all this time. We need to break it, use it as support, and then bounce off, and then continuation. And if that occurs, guys, then there is a good chance that this accumulation range maybe is over. Maybe this local bottom's in. But again, I'm not holding my breath for this. I would prepare for the scenario that we could get a breakout, but I have a feeling that at some point, because this issue in Iran is not 100% over yet, that this thing can drift back down, especially if there's like some additional attacks that come out or, some more information, because every time that there's some type of information about oil, the Strait of Hormuz, we see this fluctuation of price action. And we can see the same thing happening right now in oil. Look at oil. Oil's going down right now, all right? So the market's pumping, oil's going down. Why is that? Because that's how this goes, guys. This is basically they're counterbalancing or counteracting each other. So, for example, when oil dumps, crypto pumps. When oil pumps, crypto dumps. They're going against each other right now because of the issue that's going on in Iran. And it's very interesting to see this, guys, because looking at oil, it came down, pushed back up. And again, this has been a really volatile asset dealing with this whole war FUD. And if you come over here on the 4-hour, guys, you can see we're still in a confirmed uptrend. Like we can't deny that. We're using the 50 as support on oil right now. I'm not an oil trader. I don't trade oil, but obviously we need to monitor this because of what's been going on and the influence it has on the market. But what we want to see with oil, guys, right now, first and foremost, is a break below this 50-day. You can see we've been using this 50 as support the entire time, and we need to break below it. And then as the 50 starts to curve down, we need to use it as resistance and then break down. And if that occurs, and it will, oil will go down, guys. This issue that's happening in Iran, I think that we will hear some type of surrender or something probably soon. And then you always have to remember, guys, crypto is a catalyst type of asset class. It's always looking for a catalyst or a narrative to push it. So the war ending would actually be a catalyst that I think would be very positive. And then you have to start looking at things in the future, like lining these things up, these different catalysts and different narratives we've been already talking about. So we know, like, separate of the war issue, we've got Jerome Powell being replaced. We've got potential stimulus checks coming from the tariffs. Even though that the Supreme Court's turned those down, I think that there's still a potential chance for this to occur. And just generally speaking, with the economy and how everything has been prior to this war, things were starting to tick up. We know this by the ISM going above 50. We see that QE is in full force. And the only thing that I think can happen at this point is as we go past and get past this event, these things are positive catalysts that continue to pump the market. All right, guys? And again, we are in a bear market, but I think it's going to be a very short-lived bear market. All right, guys? I don't think it's going to be an entire year like it was. I don't think we go through a 2021, 2022 type bear market at all. All right. I think that we are in one, but I think, again, it's going to be very short-lived. And then you have to look at a couple of other things, guys. So just generally speaking, when I like to look at the market, the first thing I like to do too is looking at TradFi. And I've been talking about this, guys. We need to start showing some strength. One thing that is interesting that even myself overlooked is even though we have been kind of going through this corrective in the stock market, you can see we're still using the 50 as support right there, guys. And you can see the last time we came down to the 50 and broke below it, this is when the tariffs, that trade war happened, and then we broke above it. But we're still above it. But even on the daily, guys, I've been saying it, we need to start showing some support. So one thing that does look good to me is how we just made a higher low. All right, guys, you can see how we've been making lower lows the whole entire time, going down in this general region right here. And now we finally have changed the structure. And then this is when we need to start seeing this thing start to make another move up. We really need to break it back above the 50 and use it as support. If we can get above this 50, come back down, use it as support, and push up, then there's a good chance, guys, and even like taking a step back and kind of looking at this, there is a good chance that this thing could just be a descending wedge pattern. That's just been different. Let me actually remove all this stuff so you guys can see what I'm talking about. This thing could be a descending wedge pattern, guys. If you look at this thing, you can see it. And then you could say, technically speaking, this whole entire move right here is its post. All right. And then this thing finally gets a chance to break up. And then, you know, I think that we will see an S&P 500 futures over 7,000 again, along with the S&P 500 getting above it at some point. But the same thing's going for the S&P 500. It had a very destructive day yesterday. It was down 1.52%. And then all of a sudden, as soon as the U.S. market closed, what does Trump do? What he does every time, starts making announcements. Why? Because he doesn't want to do it when the market's open, because he knows the reaction it's going to get, both bullish and negative. Like if it's a bullish announcement, he still does the same thing because he wants to let the time for the market to digest. And this is why crypto immediately surges on the back of these type of news, because it's open 24/7, guys. It's the only e-liquid market that's open 24/7, nonstop, 365. So looking at U.S. stock market, guys, I'm expecting this to turn green today. We need to see this thing, again, saying the same thing, needs to start showing some momentum, guys. We need to start going up, because this thing has just been showing me bearish structure. After this thing lost its 50, I mean, it really has been showing me bearish structure since then. Lower lows, lower highs. We need to start showing some momentum. But today, we could very well see that with this new announcement. So we also want to continue to look at this. Nobody's even talked about this yet, guys. So they just pumped in another $17.45 billion with QE. All right, guys. This thing is ticking up, guys. You can see this is where it was just at. They just pushed this in there. This is extremely bullish, guys. So you have to think, after the war gets passed, we are in QE. All right. We have a new federal chair guy coming in who's going to cut these rates. All right, start looking at the silver lining and start building your positions now, guys. This is why I keep telling you guys, you don't want to fade these opportunities, because everybody wants to buy the dip until the dip is no more. And then everybody wants to not buy the dip because they're too scared to buy it. And then once they look back in hindsight, it was the most clearest, obvious buy signal ever, and they completely faded it. All right, you don't want to be that, guys, because even though I think we have some time here, you don't want to think that we have just like, an infinite amount of time. When we start to break up, it's going to happen fast, and FOMO is going to kick in. And you're going to see a lot of these alts literally just teleport 5X's up from the local lows, and you're going to be sitting on the sidelines wishing you had participated. All right? And if this is the first time you've ever found any of my content, guys, again, my name's Coach JM. I've been a digital asset investor for over 5 years now. I am the founder of Alpha Syndicate, and I'm also the host of the Crypto Talk workshops inside of Luke Belmar's Capital Club. And if you want to learn this stuff, guys, like actually learn it, if you want to get coached and mentored by somebody like me and be able to actually learn how we connect the fundamentals, technical analysis, the macro, and how we use this to try to give us a clearer picture over the market. And if you want a place where you can actually network with other entrepreneurs, investors, traders, click the link below, guys. We'll see you inside.